Good morning, everybody. I'm okay. I hope we are all keeping warm during these cold times. Hopefully, my tech talk will be so fire that it will warm up your hearts. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Either way, I'm Katz. My full name is Katlego Kungwani, but I colloquially go by Katz. And today I'll be talking about artificial intelligence in games. I should have loaded those first. All right. But however, before we get into the nitty gritty of artificial intelligence, we need to first answer the question: what is artificial intelligence? All right, I'm just kidding. I don't know how many tech talks we've had. We've gone through this many times. Let's get into actually what we want to know, which is artificial intelligence in games. What I'm more interested in is, like I said, fusing artificial intelligence and games together. I'm going to give some anecdotal evidence and some historical evidence, but we have to go back to where it all started. My experience at WITS. My fellow Vitsies would know that in computer science, we always had that one project in the year that would also always have some competitive elements to it. It's for those people that wanted to get at 100%, but maybe it was to identify the people that did not know what that is. But either way, let's not talk about that. These were very fun projects for me. My first experience in injecting some human expertise into games. In the first year, we were tasked with solving the game Sudoku. The objective of this was to complete a given Sudoku configuration faster than all of your peers. This quickly turned from a DFS algorithm into some very clever optimizations. Then once you reached your peak in computational optimizations, you had to start injecting some human knowledge in the mix if you really wanted that 100%. So you could implement some basic techniques like hidden and naked singles or hidden and naked pairs, or even more complicated techniques such as the X-wing and the swordfish. Listen, I didn't come up with these names. I don't know how to use these two. My project worked pretty well just implementing hidden singles and naked singles, but like I said, it was the first opportunity for me to inject some intelligence into games, and it was pretty fun. All right. Then we can move on to second year where we had a snake game. This one was my personal favorite. This is basically the game that we all know and love, Snake, with a little bit of a twist. There are actually four snakes on the board, and each snake you can imagine Katz coded a snake, Sam coded a snake, Stefan coded a snake, and Batana coded a snake. And we all verse each other to try and become the best snake on the board up to the next 5 minutes. We eat apples, we grow, we kill each other. And there was this little hidden mechanic where, well, not really hidden, but it was a special apple that could turn you invisible. It was very useful for killing some people, but yeah, that was basically the project. In my implementation of it, I tried to make some other techniques. So the first one I'm going to show you is this other technique that I use to kill other snakes. Um, if you're the poor red snake that's on the wall and I'm the green snake, I could actually choke you until you reach the wall and you get killed over there. That was one technique that I used. And then there were other techniques where I would, this stuff is called like a Voronoi diagram, where you'd have to try and find out where's the best place for your snake to rest to control the most amount of cells on the board. As you can see, maybe yellow or blue have the advantage over here. But there's actually another technique that I did develop for escaping tight situations, which I would love to show you guys. I just have to share that part of my screen. Give me half a second. All right, I'm very sorry if it doesn't play that well, but this is what I like to title art. The green snake is obviously mine. In this video, you can see that the blue snake eventually traps the green snake. So now he utilizes that space to escape, you could see. Instead of just killing himself, he utilized that space fully to escape elegantly. And that was one of my proud moments during that year. I really did love seeing that actually happen. It's a very niche situation that you code for, pretty complicated, but when it works out, it looks very cool. But okay, moving on. So third year, we had another project called Congo. This was kind of a chess ripoff where instead of having loyal guardians of the king, you have these animals. And then there was this blue thing, the river. If a piece was in there for more than one state, it would actually drown. It was pretty terrible. But the objective was for your white king to kill the other king. The orange section was where your king was allowed to reside. So, for example, the white king could not go to the square B1 because it was outside of that orange circle, orange section. It was pretty cool. And then there was another mechanic where the king could jump over the river and eat the other king if there was a straight line between the two of them, which was very good for catching you out if you didn't code your stuff properly. But yeah. For this project, honestly, I was kind of running out of ideas because we're basically being tasked with developing our own chess engine and board evaluation. I tried to maybe create these heat maps where I'd say I want my pawns to maybe chill closer to your king. I want my giraffe to chill closer to your king. I want my king to never try to move close to the river, and these capture value heat map squares. But I didn't find too much success with this, honestly. But that was Congo. Then moving on to fourth year, we decided to get rid of the fake chess and we created our own stockfish. Well, not entirely. This project was actually called Reconnaissance Chess, which is blind chess. All right, so let me give you guys a quick run through of this game. Basically, like the name says, it's blind chess. You know where your pieces are, but you don't know where your opponent's pieces are. So this is what the board actually looks like, but when you're coding, you can imagine the first move, the board's actually going to look like this. It will never change. So you can imagine as the whites, after you make your first move, e4, and your opponent makes the move, this is actually what the board potentially looks like, because you don't know where they moved exactly. And the interesting part of this game was that you had one chance to sense before you made a move, where you could pick a 9x9 grid to find out if any pieces were moved there. So you can see that if you did have a good sense, you could actually eliminate all the other possible board configurations and you would know exactly what the board looked like. But if you're pretty unlucky with your senses, you could actually find out that the board got extremely crazy as you had so many possibilities and you didn't know which one was true. So as you can see, playing through Recon Chess is like navigating a foggy forest. To reduce chances of losing, you could use some entropy-based methods for sensing. And then for selecting the correct move, you could maybe pick the most common move that Stockfish gave you. But these were both pretty naive approaches to solving the game. So now I use those 4 projects to illustrate one theme. Given the objective in the game, how can you make a program that clears the objective the best? I would first try computational optimizations, then I would move on to try and include my own human knowledge. But you could see for more complex problems, this did not always work. So I'd always wonder throughout those times, I wonder what an AI could do, especially for Snake. To this day, we're still very interested in making an AI for Snake. I think we'll do that after the grad program when I have a Sunday afternoon to actually work. Right. So there has been a lot of research in AI in games. Games are commonly used as testing grounds for AI because they may be controlled, but they are still complex at the same time. One of the most noteworthy breakthroughs were from DeepMind's AlphaGo. This AI was able to beat the world champion in a 3-game series at the Chinese checker board game Go. AlphaGo basically used a combination of deep neural networks and reinforcement learning and some Monte Carlo stuff. This is actually not too important. And yeah, the discoveries that were actually found out in AlphaGo further inspired research and development in AI. And this is why people actually did put money into this. It wasn't just to become world champions at random games. So now we can find out that, okay, AI does have some success when it comes to winning board games. But a more interesting question is, can we use AI to solve games that people are more interested in playing? Amazing, 10 out of 10. You should actually stop this presentation to go download games such as Overwatch, or maybe mid games like Valorant, or maybe games that would book you a session at a nearest therapist, League of Legends. Well, the answer is yes. OpenAI, once again, has released an AI that was capable of playing a game, Dota 2. It's very similar to League of Legends, where it defeated the world champions with ease. OpenAI initially started with a 1v1 against the world champion, and after that AI did well. It swapped to a 5v5. And in 2018, they challenged the world champions. They said, you can come to us at any time in a 5v5. And OpenAI 5 won the best of 3 series. It actually demolished them. During both games, during the drafting stage, this is when you guys are picking heroes. the AI had a win probability of above 60% in both games, which was actually pretty crazy. And one thing that OpenAI understood very well was that the longer the games lasted, the less likely it was to win. So during the beginning, it made very costly moves. It made very things that seem very gambly to human beings, but it was very important to the AI because after 5 minutes, when they asked the AI again, what's your probability of winning? It went up from 60 to 90%. So the AI, OpenAI 5 eventually went on to demolish the world champions pretty embarrassingly. OpenAI 5 was also a master strategist at 5v5 battles. It was able to identify weaknesses in the enemy's positioning. It was able to know when to attack and when to not attack, all of those kind of things. The bots were amazing at assessing whether a fight was worth it or not, leaving human players very confused because if the bots decided to fight you, it was very likely that you would lose the fight. And there was actually another video I wanted to show. This one, I wanted to show the sound, but I don't think the sound is going to work. This is just an example of how these bots were able to escape certain death with a sliver of health. Just know the bots are the ones in green and they are being attacked by the people in red. So you can see he's very low HP, but he somehow escapes. And as they're approaching him, they use a stun attack, but he turns around and he stuns him again. And then he goes and he teleports back home. It's pretty surviving on like 1% health. It's pretty amazing to see the AI do this. All right, and then let's move back on. Oh, I was supposed to do something. That's fine. Sorry, I just shared the wrong screen. It's that one. All right, so OpenAI 5 eventually wins, and they opened up their AI to be challenged by anyone in the world. And after 15,000 games, OpenAI 5 won over 99% of them. You can see the win rate there is about 99.4, which is actually extremely impressive. And these are bots made in, I think, 2019. So it's just going to get better as time goes on. So as I mentioned before, these big companies aren't dumping millions of dollars of compute into becoming world champions in games. These discoveries and breakthroughs in reinforcement learning are transferred to other problems. So we can see that AIs can actually beat human players. With this, we are able to have a more interesting player versus enemy experience in games, making it easier for some people to train and learn from bots in the absence of other humans. For the same variety that human players have, we can adjust the parameters to train the bots to have certain archetypes, maybe being more aggressive or more docile, and it would lead to a better gaming experience of PvE for those of us who don't really have too many friends. The reason this isn't extremely common is that it's a rather expensive venture to be making these kind of AIs. But yeah, that's basically the end of the talk.